I don't care. It's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, good morning, people, and welcome back to the JustJoe Football Show. It's nice, bright and early again. Woke up nice and early this morning, obviously waiting for 10:30 for the Jesse Marsch interview with Simon Jordan. Well, I listened to the Upfront podcast with Simon Jordan, and I went on my podcast feed, and it's already out. So I've listened to it already this morning. I've made my notes, as I do normally with press conferences. And we're ready to go. We're ready to dissect and give our opinion on, for me, the American car salesman. You know, I call him this. It was quite funny because Simon Jordan, a little bit later on, referred to him as snaky salesman. Let me just get the direct quote. Just bear with me one moment. I just had to laugh to myself because I was like, okay, let me find it. What he called him, snake oil salesman. He called him a snake oil salesman. And I had to laugh because I've been telling you this for a while about Jesse Marsch. Listen, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. Let me remind people during this podcast as well, I don't hate Americans. I love you all equally, okay? There's only one American I hate, and his name is Jesse Marsch. No, man, no, I can't do it, Jack, just because copyright rules and all that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, it won't enable me to do that. So yeah, I've listened to it already, and we're going to talk about it. But Jesse Marsch, the man, first and foremost, he was at Princeton. He was a good student. He liked school. He's an absolute square. Who else? Yeah, of course he's a square. I like to be smart, he said. I like to be smart. I'm competitive. I like to be the best in class. I mean, I guess that's not such a bad thing. But obviously I use anything to tear it down. But Bob Bradley was at Princeton as a coach, which I didn't know this, and it was Bob Bradley that had looked at him and brought him. He had a certain fearlessness. He had a certain fearlessness. He liked to be in over his head. No shit. Do you know what I mean? No shit. He likes to be in over his head. Well, he was in over his head at Leeds United. That is not, let's not play about here. He was in over his head. He said folks, it's already out on podcast feed. Yeah, just everyone's saying it's not out. That's YouTube. It came out on podcast feed, I guess, first thing this morning. I didn't even know I went on my podcast feed because I listened to podcasts all day and it was there already. So, boom, I listened to it. So, listen, during his pro career, he prided himself on being the fittest in the pitch, fittest on the pitch. Well, what happened? Because our players were not the fittest. Our players were not the fittest. Our players were done by the end. They weren't fit enough. And we're going to talk about the Bielsa and Jesse Marsch similarities, or lack of, but similarities according to Jesse, and about how he's able to maintain peak levels of fitness, but not harming the players. Well, I call bullshit on that. But what happened? Yeah, so he said that DC United are like a championship team. Simon Jordan was like, really? You really think they're that level? Yeah. Simon Jordan took him to task on quite a lot. Yeah. He did. Now, Leeds United and Premier League is where it gets juicy, obviously. He watched what Bob went through. Obviously, Bob Bradley came over, didn't do well over here, was mocked. We can remember the square, not the square ball, something they would do though. The Stocker AM skit. Bob Bradley. Premier League, though, he knew players that he'd worked with, he knew coaches, he'd been over and studied the game, etc. in the Premier League. Again, I call cap, I call bullshit. And I mean, he may have done these things, but the reason I say that is I'll never forget when he said that he didn't realize just how strong the teams were until he started to come into the league, and he looked at, say, like a Norwich. Do you remember the Norwich game? And he said, I couldn't believe how much, like, you know, how good they were. And it's like, what is that? What, you only just realize that? You only just realize that the teams, even at the bottom of the league, are still very good sides. You know, so for him to say he did all this and he knew it all, again, I call cap. He was asked, did you deserve the move? And he said, you know, I didn't think about that. It was about finding the right club that fit me. You know, he said he had other offers. I wish he'd have taken them. You know, he said he had offers from clubs that were fighting for Europe, he said. He had clubs that were fighting for Europe but chose to come to Leeds. We know why, right? Victor Otto. Him and Victor Otto were like this. We're going to chat about that in a little bit later on. But it was about finding the right club, and he believed Leeds United was that. It was asked if he got the scale of the club. He said he knew about Leeds United, he knew about the Champions League, but not until he was in. He told an anecdote when he came to the country. I'm assuming he was at Leeds Bradford. And he went to passport control, and the guy was looking at his passport, he said, and he then went over to the passport master or whatever, and they both looked at each other like that, and he came over and he went, so you're here to save us, yeah? And then Jesse's response was, we're here to save you. Like, what does that even mean? Like, we are here to save us, he said, sorry. We are here to save us. What does that even mean? Like, we're all a squad. We're all a team. We're all together. You know, you are here to save us. Let's see. Maybe. Let's hope not. No. We are here to save us. Like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? But this is, again, it's whatever floats your boat. For me, as a character, it's all noise. It's all noise. You know what I mean? It's all cheese. It's just not quintessentially English. And I guess you might say that's like, because we're going to talk about that. And the reason I mention that is because he talks about the English people and talks about the difference between them and American. But yeah, I like, if he says to me, yeah, I was like, so you're here to save us, mate? Yeah. And he goes, no, we are here to save us. I'd have gone, but it is what it is. He said, I went and told the players this. You know, he went and told the players this. I can imagine the players going, oh, nice one, Jess. Yeah. So you're going to talk about tactics or no? We are here to save us. Don't be scared. We're here to save us. So yeah, he told the players that. He did say when he got here, they were gone. They were tired. Yeah. And when he came in, he realized it was going to take more than he originally imagined. I needed to create calmness, he said. Remember, he used to talk about calmness while creating chaos. Do you know what I mean? That was always his shtick, man. And I never got it. You know, we need to be calm, but then telling them they're scared on the sidelines and all this, it just didn't make sense. But when he talks about him being gone and that, I mean, what they're gone as in what, like too thin? Did you see the state of Weston McKennie? I would much rather a gaunt Luke Ayling than a fat Weston McKennie. Best believe that. It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? The Els have got these lads at peak fitness. You took them away from that. You took them away from that and made them unfit and therefore not able to compete for a full 90 minutes. So I'd much rather someone looking gone, as you put it, as opposed to some fat lads, which is what we got in the end. Why were they like that, he was asked? And was it a mistake to say they were overtrained, you know? And he said it was a mistake because none of us liked that when he said that. But he did say, right, that it was well known that they were overtrained. Based on what? Based on what people in the media were saying. based on Bielsa burnout. That was the narrative that was peddled by the media. So you made this assumption before you actually walked through the door and didn't actually see if they were overtrained, as it was put. I don't think they were overtrained. I don't think they were overtrained. They were undertrained when you were here. It was an easy narrative for the media to push on Leeds United by saying the Bielsa burnout. They are overtrained. Can you hear me, folks? Because I'm getting a call through, and sometimes it blocks it. Nah, it's fine. Let me just cancel that call because my camera is my phone, and yeah. Anyway, oh mate, tell me, Jamie, it's bad, isn't it, bro? It is bad. Yeah, being gone brought us success. Exactly, you know. But yeah, so when he spoke about it being overtraining, he said I thought it was known, so it was okay for me to say it because everybody knew they were overtrained. Based on what you made that assumption before you even came to the football club, by all accounts, and that assumption was being peddled by the media. Bielsa burnout. Even some of our fans were going, saying, "Why they're burning out?" It wasn't nothing to do with that. Maybe up here, because they were sick of getting fucking beat. But they would still go in every single game. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, he admitted it was a fault, but then Simon took him to task on that, and I was like, "Well, is that what you believe? Then why is it? Why is it?" This is a great point. no, so bringing David Goggins here. I mean, there isn't when you're a footballer, but I hear what you're saying. So he said he loved Bielsa and he studied him. I read a book, he said. Then Simon Jordan, as I said, took him to task on it and said, but it is a direct reflection. Don't fall on your sword now because it was poorly received from the fans to say, how dare you say he was overtrained. It's a direct reflection of the situation that Leeds were in. So he then said, well, I thought it was known anyway, you know. And for me, I think you read it, you heard it, you know. He did say, I didn't mean to incite the public. Don't speak about the bit. Don't speak about the great man, innit? You know, he said, I didn't want to make it about me versus Marcelo. But you did that. You know, you did that by making these comments in the media, by making a joke of, you know, the sleeping pods and that, and making it into a media center as opposed to what Bielsa had said. You know what I mean? So, yeah. He says he has a data team that he asks as well. So when he took the Leeds United job, he mentioned this data team. He mentioned it as well when linked to Southampton. We'll talk about that and him not taking that job. He must have his own data team. But his data team told him that Leeds United had an 84% chance of going down in 3 years. This, for me, I don't know the stats. Do you know what? Listen, Statico's amazing all the time, but you know, watch football sometimes as well. But this 84% chance for me is a way of him absolving himself or trying to say, well, you know, we did have an 84% chance anyway, so I didn't do that bad. I don't buy it. You know, again, he mentioned about him having other clubs that he could have gone to, you know, that were chasing Europe, but came to Leeds United, did us a favour, even though we had, you know, an 84% chance of going down. He was asked, did he underestimate the connection with Bielsa and fans? Yeah, you know, definitely did. I went because I liked Victor Orta. He cares and I cared. You know, them two like two peas in a pod. And this is the throwaway line. This is why you will never succeed for me. He says, I care more about people than winning. You're in the wrong fucking job then, bro. This might work in a nice environment, but this is football management. If you care more about people than winning, go be a fucking counsellor. And you know, do you see what I'm saying? I just, yeah. I'm just trying to think about jobs where you can, I don't know, just go graze on a field with some cows and sheep. I don't know. But yeah, if you care more, listen, I care about people, of course. But I'm a football manager, you know? So he cares more about people than winning. But he thinks if you create a good place, the byproduct of that is winning. I hear it in sales. I hear it in a sales environment. Yeah. When I worked in management in the energy sector, my thing was I always would create a decent environment for my team so that if I had to go to a meeting, they would continue to work because they wanted to work for me. They wanted to hit KPIs for me. Because if you rule with an iron fist in that sort of setting, as soon as your back's turned, yeah, they're not asked. They don't want to get involved. Fuck that, Joe's way. Joe's gone for a cigarette. Let's fuck about for a bit. Chill out, you know? So I get it in that environment, but this is football management. Just because you create a nice environment in football does not equal winning on the pitch. Do you think Alex Ferguson had a nice environment the way you hear Roy Keane speak about him now? No, definitely not. And other successful managers, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, is it? So caring about more than people about winning, that whatever, that's your prerogative. But he believes that if you create that, it will equal winning anyway. As I said, in other corporate worlds, again, it's more corporate BS. It's more LinkedIn speak. This is football management, man. It is what it is. He said he didn't want to come till the summer. We've heard him say that before. That might be true. He was asked, why did you get the job? Why did you get the job? What did you do to impress them? He didn't have to do anything. Let's be real. Victor Orta was in bed with this guy for a long time. A long time. Apparently, he spoke about the similarities between him and Bielsa. What? Running, commitment, and tactics. He's full of shit. He's full of shit. Running, only for so long. Commitment, what's commitment? I'm sorry. What is your philosophy? Commitment. Again, that's more of that's something external. It's not, and tactics are not the same. Tactics are not the same. Never were. And I don't know what Victor Orta seen in him. He said about his training methods that is high level output from the players, but kept them physically healthy. Again, they weren't fit enough in the end. He spoke about the tactical changes that he would adjust to stop giving goals. He mentioned Bielsa's football create a lot of open spaces, but meant that you had you were very open at the back and it leaves you wide open. We know that the man marking system did have a tendency to do that. He mentioned the 4, the 5, the 6s. This was against top sides in the likes of Liverpool, etc. I still stand by the fact that Bielsa keeps us up because his record against those in the bottom half was brilliant. We always used to dick these teams. Yes, it unfortunately for me was a casualty of the fixture list because we had Tottenham, we had Arsenal, we had Liverpool, all bang, 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 bang. So it looked worse than what it was. You had, COVID and Bielsa. Listen, I don't care what anyone says. Some of these top teams were throwing them games and saying, we've got, too many COVID cases. Leeds United didn't do that. When we played Arsenal that night, the team was terrible. The team was full of kids. The other top teams, they don't do that, but Bielsa. So, yeah, anyway, that's by the by. My thoughts on Bielsa and his sacking and all that sort of stuff. But, he said how he would prevent that. He would prevent these goals from being conceded, and that's fine. But all he did do is prevented a different scenario where he created a different scenario where we conceded goals, because we always used to concede the goal at the back post. Who can forget when he did that press conference and he said this only happens in England, goals at the back post? Apparently, nowhere else in football can you score a goal at the back post. The guy's full of, he chats beans. And the corners, how open we used to be from corners under Jesse Ball. You know, and he also said how he was as a person and how he could help the situation. Spoke about the Red Bull model, how good of a company it was. Again, company BS. That's what he is. He's a company man, just not a football company man, a salesman. Spoke about the German machine. And he loved being part of the German machine, and England should do more to follow that model. He was then asked about, you know, he kept them up, he kept Leeds United up, which he did. You then spend a lot of money, and then you started, well, what happened? And he said, we surprised people at the start. We had a good pre-season, we surprised people. Then we didn't win some games, Arsenal, Everton, and it started to go wrong from there. We had good processing matches and things. We were doing well in games. And then Simon Jordan was like, yeah, but you were losing, mate. You were losing. You know, and this is where Simon used to call him out in the media. He said, I would listen to you, watch a game, and you would be describing a totally different game. But Jesse said, well, I couldn't come out and say these players don't score enough goals, these players don't defend well enough, etc. And listen, I'm not gonna, well, maybe it is throwing shade, but this was the same rhetoric I used to hear from the USMNT Stan accounts, that it was all the players. Don't blame Jesse, it's because Bamford can't finish. Don't blame Jesse, it's because the defenders are shit. That was always the rhetoric, never about the system, never about the process of getting to a place to be able to score the goal, getting other players in position. You know, he did things. So, for example, we've just played in the FA Cup. You know, he injured Rodrigo. He played Rodrigo when we were 3-0 up against Accrington Stanley, brought him on with 10 minutes left to go, played him alongside Bamford for 2 minutes, and his reasoning for it at the end of the game was to say, I wanted to see what they were like together. I think they were on the pitch about 7 minutes. Waste of time. So, you know, and remember when he said that if I had Rodrigo at the start of his career, I'd have made him one of the best players in the world. All this, it's all noise. It's bullshit. He's a bullshit artist. Yeah, so he said these players don't defend well enough. You know, I couldn't come out and say that, but he said it there, didn't he? Basically blaming Pat. And listen, Pat did miss a lot of chances, but he missed a lot of chances under every manager. He's missed chances under Farker. He's missed chances under Bielsa. He's missed chances under managers before, you know, and in his previous career. These defenders, I mean, you had a part in bringing some of them in, bro, as well. We brought in Max Fober, brought in Rasmus Christensen. Rasmus Christensen is the worst right back ever that I have seen. And we had Jason Pierce playing right back. I'm telling you, he is bang average. Bang average. And he brought these players in. And then, to be fair, Simon Jordan said to him, isn't a form of leadership being able to criticise, though? Being able to call them things out. He said, maybe, you know, I did that behind the scenes. He spoke before Liverpool about, I'm sick of losing. It was a call to action. Simon Jordan said he liked that. We went and won that game, which was actually, on reflection, a bad thing because it meant he stayed in the job for longer. He said, I care about a group of people, being part of a team. Again, it's all fluffy kittens and that. It's all fluffy kittens. So what are we saying, Chris? You agree with him? Did you watch the goal on the weekend? Puskas Award winning, Chris. Don't check yourself. Joe Hurst, Jesse. I know he won't, bro. I just want him to stop, please. Do you know what? This is Will Smith. Get my club's name out of your mouth. I just want him to get a new job so it can be someone else's problem. Yeah, so he spoke about being part of a great group, you know, being part of a team. If you don't already know, like there's another interview that's done the rounds where he spoke in the meeting before he got the sack, having a leadership council meeting with Luke Ayling, and Luke Ayling had said to him, yeah, but it'll take time. Like, even just hearing this leadership council meeting, this might go on a lot, but I just don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. This whole, we were talking on, you're the manager, mate. You can create nice atmospheres and that, but you're the gaffer. These footballers have come through since being year high of always having a gaffer, not a lovely, amazing environment where you can all have a say in the running of the football club. And I don't work like that. This isn't Princeton. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, at the end of the day, you're the gaffer. He says he strives to be authentic. Again, I call bullshit. And the reason I call bullshit is because a lot of the things that he said was all bullshit. Cooper's the best captain I ever worked with. Jack Harrison's the best bloody dribbler or crosser of the ball I've ever worked with. Szoboszlai's as good as Beckham. Just all this stuff he said in this interview, you go, hang on a minute. That's not right. Like saying he came to the Premier League and knew all about it, but then we've got him on record as him saying I came and I didn't have a clue that Norwich would be as good as they were. Again, he's not authentic for me. He said, so 16th when you came in, you leave when you're 17th. Did you deserve it? Yeah. Then he says this. Marsch says team were not 17 when sacked. Actually, with games in hand, we were 13th. That's what he said. With games in hand, we were 13th. So he basically said on this bit, and this is where it's just all bullshit. He said, we hadn't played match week 20 and all those below us won. So therefore, we basically said we had a game in hand. They'd all played and jumped us. So if they'd not played and won their games, we'd have been in 13th. Like, what are you talking about here? When you left, what did the table say? 17th. So stop lying. Match day 20, yeah, we're 13th. If we win, all this sort of stuff. He got 15 points out of 12 first time around, 18 out of 20. 18 out of 20 when, and Simon Jordan said that will get you relegated. And like Joe said, he then went on to say, the XG had us on 28 points, not 18. And this is where I come back to it. Staticos. You cannot, your actual league position is where you are. Yes, okay, you can see over the course of the season, things might work out. But when they stop working out, regardless of what your XG is saying, it ain't working out. So on his XG, we had 28 points. But this is when I come back to those that want to hammer Melier on save percentage, those that want to hammer other players on this. It ain't about that. Watch with your eye as well. We could all see it was going tits up. I don't care that the XG said we should have had 50 goals. The facts are we did not. We did not. And I would tell him to sack his data, people. Because it didn't mean shit. So, yeah, XG were on 28 points. Simon Jordan came out and went, stop. Like, that's bullshit. He said, come on now. And that's what I say as well. Come on. Listen, nothing against Staticos. Amazing. I listen to them. I love that sort of stuff. But at the same time, when you've got 18 points, don't be coming at us saying, well, we've actually got 28. It's like, mate, we're going down. Yeah, but don't worry about it because really we're in 13th. No, we're in 17th, mate. Like, get a grip. This is what I'm saying. He said, I'm not proud of the 18 out of 20. The situation when I came in, we were losing bad 6 and 5 every week. The most goals conceded in a month in history, which is all true. He said he stabilized the environment, which you would have to say, he did. He started to get his results. He kept us up again. I put a lot on that on the players. Then Simon said to him, you were given 130 million quid. You brought in players that were not good enough. And he did say, this is again, he went, it's not just me. We worked together. And they made something about the only club to make money was City and Leeds, that transfer window. And that almost felt like he wanted more money. He wanted more money. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why he said that. Simon said, well, what's that got to do with anything? What's that got to do with the price of fish? That you and City made money. And I don't know if he was saying, I don't know what he's what. I genuinely, it felt to me like he was saying, yeah, but we still made money. We could have spent more. But again, this is the point. Not good enough. And the 130 million quid, him and Orta splurged up the wall. He mentioned Victor. Them two were doing it all. Do you think you were unfairly sacked? You know, and he says, Simon said to him, the players you signed were not good enough, and I think you did deserve it. He said, I shouldn't have the metrics. We were trending in the right direction, and when I left, it all fell off again. What? He said chaos ensued again. You were the chaos. You were the chaos. Clarity in chaos. That was the thing, weren't it? We just need clarity. And then shouting on the sidelines, they're scared, man. Get a grip. Did we achieve what I wanted? 7 wins, 21% win percentage. This is what Simon he said to Simon Jordan in response to this 21%. Yeah, but the eye tests and metrics show you were moving in the right direction. When? Can you remember watching a game where you felt we were moving in the right direction? Liverpool was amazing on the night. They should have battered us. Melier was man of the match. Bournemouth, we should have never been down as much as we were. For him to bring that back, yeah, fair enough. But we were in the shit. We shouldn't have even been in that position. That wasn't the Bournemouth of this season either. Do you know what I mean? So this eye test, the metrics, 28 XG, probably had us top at league at one point. I swear it. Basically, as he said himself, we surprised a lot of teams at the start of the season. They probably were expecting Beelzebub. They worked him out quick time, and it was game over. It was game over. He had no answers. At least with Bielsa, it took a season for him to get worked out. This guy, what got worked out in about 4 games, because it's bang average football. Bang average football. You know, he said he was heartbroken. Well, I understand that. He was linked to other jobs, obviously Saints and Leicester. Saints wanted you. He said Simon Jordan actually spoke to the person who was making the decisions at Southampton, and he's on record as saying, yeah, I wanted him. And he was asked, why didn't you go? He said, basically, they had to get aligned in the boardroom, so it left a couple of days, and within them couple of days, he decided to walk away. He said the long-term vision he wasn't sure on, and I was still unstable after Leeds, he said. But again, I call BS. The reason I say that is because you were only given a 3-month contract. That's what he said. I was offered a 3-month contract that I was willing to accept because I knew once I was in there, they'd give me the job. He's a bullshit artist until he gets found out. So what were you worried about the future for if they were only giving you a free anyway? He said my data team got to work. My data team got to work, the famous data team, and they had a 95% chance of relegation. I was willing to go, you know, he was willing to go. He was asked why he had LinkedIn. He said, I hired a PR team and I felt I needed to do that. They felt that he needed to do it. So he had a PR team and they told him to go on LinkedIn and he agreed. He said it was a terrible idea, but LinkedIn in America is different to it is in England. In America, it's more of a social network. But again, you're not in America right now. You were in England. He was asked about Americans in English football. Clint Dempsey, McBride, etc. The American managers haven't done well. They haven't done well. And he did say, I think Americans only get the jobs because of American involvement. Now, that was the same for Bob Bradley. It wasn't the same for Jesse. And this is one thing where he agreed because it was Victor Orta that made this decision. You know, Victor Orta wanted Jesse in. You know, he wasn't happy with how Bob Bradley was treated during his time here. Let's not forget, you know, Bob Bradley One sec. Bob Bradley, during his time, conceded 28 goals in 11 games. Won just 2, but he felt he was badly treated. He said, I've had to work hard to get where I am. My ambition is to create a path for me, and see where I go next. Touched on the Ted Lasso stuff, just addressed it straight away, which was was fair enough. And they started to talk about this like positive attitude vibe. And he said that, he doesn't understand why in England we like Roy Keane commentary. We like Graham Souness commentary at times. Because in Jesse's opinion, he can be an arsehole. I hope Keane says something, by the way. He said English people like negativity. Now, what I say in response to that is because we're not full of shit. We can appreciate a commentator that's going to come out in a respectful way, but say it how it is. That's why we like Keane. Let's be real. We like watching Roy Keane because he says it how it is. He's not bothered about upsetting anyone, and it's refreshing. But he thinks, like, for him, it should all be about positive sunshine and rainbows all the time. He called us pathetic. He said in America, our truth is we can achieve things and people knock us because we want it more. We're positive. It's sorry. This is the difference in the like everybody's different across the world, and Americans can do attitude. Maybe in England can't do attitude, and that's the difference. And maybe that's why there's a disconnect, and that's fine. But sometimes you need to know your limitations. So Jesse, you can come in saying, we got this, the American dream. But if you ain't got it, you ain't got it, bro. And you didn't have it. And you don't have it. And yes, as English people, we appreciate someone coming in and saying, actually, that's shit. We can appreciate that as a fan base. As a group of people. And Simon Jordan did say people like Keane and Simon Jordan, and we like Simon Jordan. He said, because we're calling it as it is. We call it down the line. We don't take bullshit. And that's why I like Simon Jordan, because he does do that. He calls people out. Keane's the same. Simon Jordan called him a snake oil salesman. I call him the car salesman, don't I? Jesse said he's never been called that before. But for me, and he said, you were telling us you were playing well, but it's not true. You get what you deserve. Simon Jordan said this to him, but he said you have to provide optimism. Arsenal, we miss a pen, an unbelievably easy chances that me and you could score, he said. It's not leadership to call these people out. Provide the how, the why, the where, the what. Okay, fair enough. He did mention in England that we tear people down, which is I agree with. There is a case of that. We like to build people up to a level and then tear them down. We do that. The media does do that. Let's not be honest. Let's be honest. Sorry, we do that, and it is shit. It is shit. So I get that. But like Simon Jordan says, if you win games of football, these people aren't talking about all this. They wouldn't be talking about all this. He was asked if he thought that terminology was used against him, because Emery got pelters for it, and Emery did, right? Good evening. Do you remember? This is the thing, right? Because then Emery came back with the translator second time around. He'd learned his lesson. Jesse made a great point, and I've mentioned this as well, where Ange was just next thing since sliced bread. Then he plays the high line with 9 men, and everyone's going, all right, mate, taking the piss out of him. And we had that with Bielsa. He doesn't even speak English. It's a stick to beat people with. And that's why Bielsa was smart. Yeah. That's why Bielsa was smart in terms of using a translator. We know he could speak English, but he didn't want the media twisting it. And that's what they do. They do that. But Jesse said, yeah, you're right. Winning solves everything. And he didn't win. He didn't win. Spoke about Ralph Rangnick, Bob Bradley. They're his professors. They're his dads. Ralph Rangnick, from a sporting director perspective, yeah, great. Not a coach. Bob Bradley, not a coach. Not the top of the English game for me. He asked if he wanted the US job. Yeah, I did, obviously, to manage the team in our country, but I don't want to leave Europe. Of course, he wants to stay. He said, the 2026 World Cup, the American team have got big aspirations. But he said for us, a big win was a draw against England. And he said he's come out and said this, which I agree with. I agree with that when Scotland and that was celebrating a draw against England. But what I would say in response to this, it's a bit pot kettle black. And the reason I say it's pot kettle black, because this guy went round Ellen Road and celebrated a City fecking loss. We've just been beat. So pot kettle black. He did say as well, how can you be successful? He said it's how you'll handle things in adversity, and that's what separates me. What? And then again, this is where I come back to, for me, he's in the wrong job. He was asked, what's next for you? And he said, finding selfless people who care and treat each other the right way so we can run a successful club together. My response to that is, this ain't the fucking Waltons. Football is not the Waltons. Finding selfless people who care, treat each other the right way, and can run a successful club together. This is not reality. And maybe when he compares the American ethos to English ethos, there is almost, a sense of realism. The American dream ain't real in a sense, Okay, yeah, maybe that's the wrong way to put it, but sometimes you can't have everything. It's like when, we take the piss out of your man, the man who was on BT and all that, Jake Humphrey, when he's like saying to people, just quit your job. Just quit your job. If you don't quit your job, you'll regret it. Right, okay, but quit my job. How am I paying my bills? How am I paying my bills? What about my family? Sometimes you can't do it. Like Gordon Ramsay turns around and goes, yeah, you clever fucker, just sell my Porsche. Well, I don't have a Porsche to sell. Do you know what I mean? So there's a sense of sometimes you have to be realistic. You have to be realistic, and I don't know if that's the case. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. There is a sense of inability to find negatives. I agree with you completely. I do. Yeah, like it's mental. It genuinely is absolutely mental. The man is a mentalist, as Alan Partridge would say. I can't lie. To be honest, I want him to get another job so I can do hate-alongs. Jesse Marsch hate-alongs. Yeah, ultimately, Victor Orta and Jesse Marsch ruined it. I liked it for a period, but Victor Orta was too emotionally charged, and you can't be emotionally charged at that level running a football club. You cannot be that emotionally charged because you don't make right decisions. Yeah, you don't make right decisions. And then you've got a guy who's like fucking floating on clouds, thinking we need to just create a nice atmosphere and everything will be all right. Forget tactics, forget fitness, forget plans. Let's just create a nice atmosphere. I cannot wait for his coaching. Listen, he's got a PR team. And his PR team told him to get LinkedIn. I wonder if it's the same PR team that are telling him to keep doing these fucking interviews, because he's doing so many, and I think it'll have an adverse effect. Because he's done Simon Jordan. He contacted him. Simon Jordan said that. He contacted Simon Jordan, his people. He's done the coach's voice. He's done another one. And I think it'll have an adverse effect, unless he wants a career in media. Maybe he wants a career in media. He does a lot for CBS and that, but I think he still wants management. But if he wants to find a place where he can, you know, find selfless people who care and treat each other the right way, who can run a successful club together, guess where you get that? You get that non-league. And I'm not shitting you. Where you've got people working for nothing, where you've got the locals coming in and doing the tickets at the door, you know, the ones that are cutting the grass, doing an odd bit of painting. That is where you get that sort of stuff. You don't get that at big clubs. You just don't, right? We know this. But if you go to your local club, there'll be a guy there called Ronnie who's been there for fucking 90 years, who's cut the grass, once did a few coaching sessions and just loves it. And it's his time that he gets to come out. His wife Matt just passed away. Do you know what I mean? It's that community vibe. You ain't getting that. You are not getting that. It's mad. It is mad. But anyway, I'm going to go now cry happy tears and watch this video that Dave's just told me that Leeds United have released of the players saying goodbye to Ayling. I'm going to go chill out after this. Listen, smash a like on the video. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll be live at, like, after the presser. I know I've got lunchtime Leeds normally, but its press conference will be about 1:30, so I'll watch that and then we'll react to that. And then White Rose Rivals is at 6 o'clock as well, so make sure you join us for that. Enjoy the rest of your day. Smash a like on your way out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Thank you. Fuck Jesse.